and welcome to this week's episode of Sales Success with Lixxy, where we are passionate about helping you transform the sales in your business so you can stress less and earn more. Today, we are joined by Nicola Walsh, who is the founder of This Mum Loves Tech. She's on a mission to simplify tech for female entrepreneurs and help them set up affordable, stress-free systems within their business so they have more time to do what they love. And today, we're going to be talking about the 3 essential tech tools that every online business owner needs. So let's get into it. Amazing. Nicola, could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
So hi everyone, yes, I am Nicola from This Mum Loves Tech, and I help female entrepreneurs simplify the tech so they can get more time to do the things that they love.
I love that. And why do you think it's important for business owners to look at tech as a helpful tool in their business?
Well, as online business owners, we cannot avoid tech. I mean, tech is in whatever we do. You know, we're using tech now to have this conversation, social media, websites, everything digital involves some form of piece of tech.
Mm-hmm.
And there is so many options out there. It can get really overwhelming. And what my mission really is to kind of simplify those options into the most stress-free and affordable choices. I'm really passionate about helping people get started with the tech, to stop doing those things manually so that they can get more time, because especially when you're starting out, you're doing everything yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You probably don't have the budget to get people to help you yet, but you can use tech to help you instead.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there are free options and also like really low cost options that would be more affordable than hiring somebody immediately to help you in the business.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think when we think of tech, we think, oh, it's going to, it's going to cost me so much. It's going to take so long for me to understand. And there are some really, like I said, simple and low cost or free options out there that can just do some of those kind of tasks that you find yourself doing all the time. That's what I say to people. If there's something you're doing in your business and you're doing it on repeat, then there's a bit of tech that can help you do that instead.
I love that.
Yeah, if there's something that you're like, oh, I'm constantly sending this same email, or I'm constantly having to go backwards and forwards trying to find a time and a day that works for people, like that's the kind of activities that we can get off the plate because they're essential, but they're not actually doing much to get us any more money at the they're just things that we have to do, and so there will be a tech tool that can then help us do that instead.
Yeah, and it's not something that we need our skills for. So like I'm a sales coach, you look after the tech. The thing that we're passionate about doing isn't the thing that the tech does. It's the tech takes away what am I trying to say? It takes away the tasks that don't require your expertise so that you don't have to spend time on them.
I mean, obviously with what I do, tech is my thing, but there's so many people that are doing other stuff like sales or coaching or even like yoga or crafting or something like that. And it's like they didn't get into their business to do the tech.
Yeah, but even your business is tech, but you help other people with their tech. So you, in your business, you don't want to be doing the repetitive tasks that you can get tech to do for you.
Do for me. No, exactly. Like, yeah, if someone wants to book a call with me, I just send them a link and they can see exactly what my availability is. If I want someone to pay me, I can send them a link so they can pay at a time that works for them. And especially I think because I've got 2 small children, so I can't work every day. I'm doing school runs, I'm taking them to clubs and all that kind of stuff, or if they're sick or something. The tech means that my business can keep running even if I can't, or even if you're like going on holiday or you're going to a networking event or you're going to a training day. Like, you don't want that to be a day that you can't get people booking calls with you, or you can't be like making sales. And having the tech set up means that can still happen whether you are sitting in front of your phone or your laptop or not.
Yeah, definitely. And the calendar one, I think, is a completely underrated piece of tech because, like, imagine trying to book a call without it and you go, right, I've got this Thursday at 3. Are you free? And they go, no, I'm not. Could you do Wednesday at 5? And you go back and forth until you eventually find a slot that works. And just the energy and the time that it takes to do that it's a complete waste. But having like Calendly or TidyCal that just sends them your calendar, they can see when you're free and they pick a slot that works for them. Like, it's so much easier, and it's a better experience for you as the business owner, but also for your client as well that's trying to book in.
Yeah, because it's all about time, isn't it? Like, doing all that backwards and forwards, it gets it's time. It then gets frustrating because if you can't find a time, you're like, is this ever going to happen? The client might be thinking, oh, well, if they're that unavailable, how are they going to be able to help me? Whereas having that link, and they can just see, and like some of them, they're really clever, and they will show you, well, you're actually available at this time.
Yeah.
So and what is really clever as well, which I think a lot of people don't realize, is say an appointment comes up and you add it into your calendar, that will automatically then block out those times. So even if you said I was available, or that's the time of the day that you would like to book things in, if something comes up, you don't have to think, oh my God, I've got to go in and now change that on my my booking system, because it's connected directly to your calendar. I mean, I couldn't live without my Google Calendar. It has my entire life on it.
Me too.
So if I just think, oh, now I've got an appointment here, or now I want to go to that networking, or now I'm going to do that online masterclass or something, as long as it's in my calendar, it is then blocked out from my bookings. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize, is it can adapt with you. You put the time that you're available, but if you block something out, or even if you block the whole day out, like half term's coming up, I've just said I'm busy that whole day. So now those days have come out of my calendar, and I don't have to worry, oh, that someone's going to book and I've just booked this other thing in. You don't get those clashes as well. Because I don't know how many times you're like, oh yeah, I'm free. And then you actually go and double check your calendar and you're like, oh no, I'm not actually. I forgot I had that thing. I mean, I literally did that the other day when I was booking an appointment for my son. I was like, yeah, I'm free. And then my husband messaged you back and goes, no, you're not. The calendar. And I was like, no.
Whoopsie.
Oops. But with it being that's doing it in person, because I'd literally forgotten that, I'd changed my days around. Whereas with the online calendar, you lose that worry of
like the human error of not realizing you've got something booked in then.
Because it's just reading what your calendar is telling you. It's saying when you're available. So, and again, that's something that doesn't have to cost a lot. I mean, you can get started with Calendly for free with one event. I'm just actually transferring from Calendly to TidyCal. That's because TidyCal is a one-time fee. So it's $40, I think, $40 or $50, and that's it. You can then take payments through it. You can have multiple events set up. And it, like you said, it connects to your online platforms, your online like video platforms as well. So another thing that's really cool is not only does it check your calendar for your availability, it will then create that meeting for you and then put it in your calendar. So then you just get this notification, so and so's booked a call with you. It's like, oh, okay, like brilliant. I'm going to talk to that person on that day. The Zoom link's there. I don't have to worry about setting that up.
Thinking that the fact that it sends the Zoom, if you connect your whatever video conferencing solution you're using, for most of us it's Zoom. If you connect that into the Calendly or TidyCal system, it sends all the links for you, so you don't have to remember to set up a meeting link, because the amount of times I think that people forget to do that, and it gets to 2 minutes before the call, and you're like, I don't have a link for this call. What am I doing? So that all gets taken care of.
It all gets taken, and then the final cool thing to add is then it gives the person who booked that call with you the opportunity to add it to their calendar, and they get the reminders. So it's like you don't have to worry about telling someone, and you set it in the settings of how often you can remind them. So like I think I've got mine to be done like 24 hours before, and then like the morning of, or an hour before, or whatever, so that that hopefully they're going to show up for it because they've been reminded enough times. But you don't have to remember to remind them.
Yeah, absolutely. But like previously we would have had to have messaged the person and been like, just to let you know, we've still got this meeting tomorrow, are you still okay for it? But that is all taken care of by these technology systems,
and it's all time then that we would have spent doing that we can now spend on doing something else that's going to help grow our business. Like these are all, the way I look at the tech as well is all of the tasks that are not going to like generate me income necessarily by doing the admin of it.
They're important to keep the business running, but they're not revenue generating.
That's a better way of putting it. Yeah. But yeah, that's exactly, like, they're essential. Like, if you want to book, if someone's booking a call with you, like especially if it's like a discovery call or something, to kind of have an initial chat, like, that's important because that could lead to a sale. So you definitely need to do it. But if there's a way that it can all happen automatically, so it's not your time to do it, then obviously that's got to be a win. And yeah, it doesn't need to cost you a lot. And it's one of those things that once you've got that, like, event, as they're called, set up, and the link for it, you can put it everywhere. You can put it on your website, you can put it on your social media bios, you can even create like QR codes and put it on printed material. Like, once you've got that thing set up, it can go everywhere with you. Like, I have got I did an event and I had little key rings made up that had a QR code on them, so people could just scan those, and then they can get taken to like my website, or to book a call, whatever it was that the QR code was for. So it's like, yeah, your possibilities then of getting out there with that link for people to be able to book a call with you also go up. You know.
Yeah, I love that. The fact you can send it out into the world and just let it run, and people can find it wherever it is.
Yeah.
I love that. So that has kind of covered the calendar and getting appointments booked. Which I think that's like the bare minimum of things that we need to be doing tech-wise in our business. What would you suggest is the next one?
Next one would definitely be about getting paid.
Okay.
So obviously there's nothing wrong with sending out an invoice, but you're going to get to the point when there's going to be that person that doesn't pay. And I mean, I always recommend that whatever you do, you get paid upfront, even if it's just a deposit first. But by, again, automating that or using tech to help you with that, you don't have to wait to send someone an invoice, for them to then open it, for them to then input your bank details, to then transfer the money to you. You know, again, it's all these things that take time. And in this kind of digital world, it's all about speed, and people want to do things instantly. Like, if they've decided, yes, I want to work with that person, they want to be able to pay for it and book it and get started like now.
Yeah.
So sending an invoice just adds that delay, that then they might change their mind, or they might then go with somebody else that they can do it instantly with, because they're like, no, I need the help now, or I want to do this thing like now.
Yeah. Like, it's even like on just any website that you're buying stuff, like, even if it doesn't have Apple Pay as an option, I'm like, what are we even doing? Why am I here? Like, because we want that instant, we want to be able to do it instantly. We don't want to have to put in like our card details even. So going one step further back and sending an actual invoice that you have to go in and do a bank transfer for, it's just adding like another layer of effort that lots of clients don't want to do. They want it nice and easy. They want to be able to click a button and it's all done.
Yeah, because I don't want to have to remember as well. It's like, oh yeah, they said they sent me an invoice, and now I've got to go and check my emails to see if I've got that invoice. And then how many, if you don't do that instantly, you then might forget about it, and then they end up having to chase you for it. And it's like, oh, I'm just sorry, I've like forgot that I had it, and all that kind of stuff. Whereas, again, it's really simple and affordable. Like, setting up a Stripe or a PayPal business account is completely free. And then you can start taking card payments or PayPal payments like automatically. So they do, obviously they are free to set up in terms of a business account, but they do take a small transactional fee. So that is the only difference between an invoice and using any of these kind of online systems. Is with an invoice, obviously whatever amount you've put on there, you're going to get paid all of it. Whereas you have got to factor in that with these online systems, they are going to take a transactional fee. But it does mean, like, you haven't got to pay a monthly fee for using something like Stripe or PayPal Business. You only have to pay them if you get paid.
Yeah, which is great, especially when you're starting out, or you don't have consistent clients yet. You don't have that extra outgoing when you don't have the incoming coming in.
Exactly. So it means you can set up these like professional systems without the worry of, oh God, how am I going to afford this if I don't make a sale next month? Because you only pay them if you get paid. So
yeah, absolutely. And correct me if I'm wrong, but also when you do something like Stripe or that, setting up recurring payments, it then takes them automatically. Whereas if you were doing monthly payments but you were sending an invoice every month, the client would have to remember to transfer you the money every month. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can set up standing orders and stuff like that, but
That's on the client to do.
that's
They
on
would
the
have to
client
set
to
up.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas with
Whereas
the
this
Mhm.
happens your end, so you're in control of it, and it tells you if they haven't paid and if you need to get in contact with them and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I actually use a more advanced system than that called Thrivecart. And that's really good at if people haven't paid, you get notifications and it keeps rebilling them. So if they don't pay, not only does it won't tell you that they haven't paid, it means that although there is that manual bit of you might have to get in contact with them and ask them to update their details, it will keep trying to take the payment from them. So if it was just the case that they didn't have enough funds, maybe by the time it tries again, they will, and it will go through. So again, that's something that they do automatically. So I'm not sure if Stripe, because I do use Stripe and PayPal, but through Thrivecart.
Yeah.
That is a bit more of an advanced system, and that does cost. But the other benefits I get from using it, I mean, it is a one lifetime fee. I'm all about one-time lifetime.
Yeah, no direct debits. I love that.
Yeah, because it's like, I think I worked out that I only pay about £35 a month for my tech on a monthly basis. That's my monthly outgoings in terms of tech, because it's either something that I've bought and I've got like a few years, like my hosting for my website, for example, is on a 4-year thing. So I bought it and I've got 4 years before I have to worry about paying for it again. Thrivecart, which is what I use for my online checkout, to host my membership, to host my online course. I paid that once back in 2001 or 2002, and I haven't had to give them any more money. It's done now.
That's so good.
I'm all about finding these, like I said, affordable systems, because it's the monthly outgoings. It's that monthly, trying to find that monthly money that often is the downfall, or that stops a lot of businesses, because they haven't got that, they can't rely on that they're going to have that money each month. So if you can set up these systems that you either you pay once when you know you've got that money for it, or you don't have to pay for it at all, then obviously you can then, you can keep going. And if you haven't got a quiet month, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely, because you don't have that outgoing that's going to go out.
Yeah.
I love that. And again, all of this is about shopping around and finding the one that's going to work for you. Obviously, you've obviously spoken a lot about the fact that you love Thrivecart, which is great for you. It might not work for another business owner, but there are so many different options of tech systems that you can use that it's worth just doing some research and finding out which one is the right fit for your business right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because at the moment I have everything separate. So I have a separate website, I have separate email marketing, and I have a separate checkout call system, which works for me. But other people might rather pay a bit more money a month if they know they've got that bit more stability to have an all-in-one system, because then you've only got to learn and maintain one thing.
Which is where I'm at. I use Kartra because it's all in one and I don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah, exactly. And that is, it's like you said, it's all about finding the systems and the way of, like, there is so much choice out there, and you've got to work out what works for you in what you need and what you can afford. It's got to be those two things: what you need it to do, and how much can you afford to spend to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I think those are the two things we need to definitely think about. And also, if you make a tech decision and you decide after a few months of using it that it's not working, change it. Like, don't stick with it if it's not the right thing for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's always that thing of when you set something up, it's like, oh God, I'm going to have to set it up somewhere else. But a lot of these things, like, it's just that initial setup. If you once you've got that done, the long-term benefits of changing systems far outweigh that initial reset up.
Definitely.
So yeah, don't just think I've got this system and now I've got to stick with it even if I hate it. Like, I've used a multitude of different organizational tools because I just couldn't find one that worked how my brain worked. And I signed up to different free trials. Like, that was one thing I would say, is a lot of these platforms have free trials, and take advantage of them before you do have to start paying. And I think we said about before is talking to other people that are using them. We've already said we use 2 completely different systems. So if you were interested in one or the other, come talk to us. Like, find out, why did we pick this system? How is it benefiting our business? What kind of things did we have to do to set it up? You know, because we're obviously both running our businesses and essentially doing the same things. We get people to book calls with us. We send out emails. We have sales pages. It's just the background, and people don't know the background. Like, people looking at the foreground of our business
have no idea.
think, oh, like they're doing the same thing, and it's like, no, we're not. We're doing completely different that works for us.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing, you have to find the thing that works for you and for your business and for your clients as well, the thing that you think your ideal client is going to enjoy looking at, because they're not going to know what the back of it looks like. As long as they can interact with the front of it, like it works perfectly, and
it's user friendly for them, and what they need to do, then they won't know what's going on in the background. Like, one of my favorite tools that I get people to help them set up is a professional Google Workspace account. Now, to this is where it looks different on the outside. So on the outside, you go from having an @Gmail email address to a @your-business name email address. But in the background to you, the way that it works, the way the inbox works, and how you organize your emails is exactly the same, whether you have @Gmail or @your-business name. So there's that side of it as well. Like, but in terms of the professionalism, if I saw an email address coming from someone at gmail.com or @theirbusinessname.com, I would think that the @businessname.com is much more established. They're they're just more reliable, they're more creditable because they have a business email address and not a Gmail one. But it might be the total opposite. They might be brand new, because it's just the back. Basically, what I'm saying is the background system in terms of how you use it is exactly the same. So there's also the way of looking more professional on the outside without it being more technical for you in the background, if you just know what tools to use.
And I'm a Google Workspace user. Like, I think the tools that it gives you, I think, is great as well. And being able to continue to use Google Docs and Google Sheets and things, I just find it so much easier than trying to use all of the Office suite. I'm a big Google fan.
I don't do Microsoft. That's not my thing. But and it's also like, just going on a little bit of a tangent with Google Workspace, is there's so many things that we forget we need a Google account for, like to set up a Google My Business profile so you can get Google reviews. You obviously need a Google account for that. That one's a bit more obvious. But YouTube, if you want a YouTube channel, you need to have a Google account.
Because it's all owned by them.
They're owned by YouTube, is owned by Google. And so many times I get clients come to me and they have like so many different accounts going on because they didn't realize, or didn't at the time, set their business email up in Google. So they've had to have a Google one anyway. And then it's like they end up getting sent documents from like coaches or freebies or something, and then they have to open them because they're like a Google Doc or a Google Sheet or something. So I just think starting with that professional email just from the off just makes it so much easier.
So much easier. And just even if you're just starting out, it just presents a different level of professionalism than just doing it from a @Gmail or a outlook.com web domain.
And that doesn't cost a lot. I think a Google Workspace account is like £6 a month.
So
it's like user. And I've got like multiple domains attached to mine. So even if you're going for a rebrand and you end up changing your name, you can still use the same inbox. So like, obviously your inbox is your lifeline of a business, isn't it? That's where all your communication happens. So you just want to make that as easy as possible to use. And obviously most people are familiar with Gmail. So
absolutely. So we've covered calendar bookings and reminders and getting all that sorted. We've covered payments, your email inbox. What other tech do we need to be thinking about?
Email marketing.
Most
definitely. That's definitely where I would kind of, if people aren't email marketing, definitely make that on your to-do list for 2025. We all love social media, but we've seen, I mean, just this year, in this month, so much craziness happening. TikTok being banned, Instagram
for like 18 hours, it came back.
Exactly. And whereas email is something that we all use, and we also own, like, you own your email list. So the people that are on that have subscribed to hear from you, because obviously for GDPR purposes, people have to opt in. But like, you know who they are now. You can contact them whenever you want. They can read your email. All you've got to do is get them to open your emails. But at least, you know, as long as you've authenticated it all properly, because thanks to some changes that happened last year, again, this is where you need your professional email address now, because you can't use email marketing without a professional email address, because you have to be able to authenticate it so that the inboxes don't think you're spam. But once you've got all that done, and that's a one-time tech setup that you can do and forget about, then all you've got to do is make your emails enticing for people to open. But at least you know they're there. Whereas with social media, you don't know how many people are seeing your posts. You know, I think the percentage of followers that see your post is something like 5%. Whereas with my email marketing, my open rate is like 40 to 50%. So you get a lot higher rate. I mean, some of mine are even higher than that with my open rate, depending on what the subject is. And I think with email marketing as well, is people think it's just newsletters, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to say. But it's not just newsletters. If we go back to things like the automatic payments, you can use email marketing to then send people that next step of what they need to do. So say someone's bought a power hour with you, for example, but you need to get some information from them to make the most of it, or you want them to fill out something, you can use email marketing to send them that next step. Or if they've bought a course, you can use email marketing to send them their login details or whatever it is that they need. It doesn't have to just be a newsletter that you use email marketing for. Like, my email marketing platform is almost like my CRM, because everywhere where people come into my email list, they get tagged into a different group. So then I can see, oh, this person has, you know, done this with me, and they've downloaded that freebie, and they've bought that service from me. And then you can find out who you're kind of like, you're super
most engaged. Yeah,
because you can see who's got the most tags to their name. And again, starting with email marketing doesn't have to cost you anything. I use MailerLite, and I still do, and I'm not paying anything for it, because you don't have to pay anything till you've got 1,000 subscribers. And you'd like to think by the time you got to 1,000, you'd be at a stage where you can then afford to have a monthly outgoing coming in for it. So, and it can do so much stuff. You can do all the like sign up forms, you can do automated emails, you can even have landing pages in there. So it's a great place to get started on your email marketing. And having that, like, I say, essential resource for your business, because like I said, once the people have opted into your email list, that information is then yours. Whereas the social media platforms can get taken away at any time.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think it's a different kind of relationship with an email subscriber than it is with like a follower on a social media platform, because people follow so many thousands of people. They could follow like hundreds or thousands of different people, which means that they don't see most of your content that you put out. But when someone subscribes to your email and then you're emailing them and they don't unsubscribe, that's like a conscious decision that they like the stuff that you're sending them, and they want to continue hearing from you, because otherwise they would just unsubscribe and then they wouldn't get the emails anymore. And I think that's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about whether or not you're going to do email marketing. Like, they've chosen to receive emails from you, and unless they see every email that you send them, as long as it's not going to their spam. So if they don't unsubscribe, they want your content. They want to read the emails that you're sending them.
Yeah, and you can get even more clever with that, because your email marketing platform will tell you who's opened your emails. So if you've got people that aren't opening your emails, then you can look into you can either unsubscribe them yourself, because having people that don't open your emails, it's not much point having them on your email list. Or you can do some kind of incentive to, oh, you've not opened my email, like try and change up maybe the subject lines of your emails or something to get them to open. Like, you can see what people have clicked on things, you can see what people have opened things, all this information that you don't get necessarily with a social media, because you don't know, unless you've got, exactly that person saw that post because they commented the word that then set off a DM automation or something, and then they've bought from you,
Yeah.
you've got that to follow. But if they've just liked a post or something, you don't know if that's then led them to book a call with you or not. Whereas you can see, I sent that email out, they clicked on that link, they then booked a call. It gives you so much more information as well about who the people in your world are and what they do.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing you said about people not opening your emails, like I've had emails from people that I've been subscribed to before that I have not opened, and I've had emails from them saying, like, the subject line is like, you haven't opened an email from me for 30 days. Are you sure you want to be here? Kind of thing. And then that has made me open the email and think, like, what is this about? And it's that sort of more personal interaction, because you've taken the time to look at the fact that they aren't opening their emails, and then you've reached out to them directly and said, is this still the right thing for you? And sometimes, no, it won't be, and they'll unsubscribe. But other times, like with me in this example, I then started reading their emails because I just hadn't noticed the fact that I hadn't opened an email for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. And you can personalize the emails as well, because you can, as long as you take people's names when they subscribe, you can make it so that it would have said, Lixxy, why haven't you opened my email? Rather than just, why have you not opened my email? You can actually put their name in it. That makes it almost be like, oh, okay. Or is this the thing you need? But with their name, it has more impact.
It makes such a big difference, doesn't it? So I think that's kind of covered the basis of like admin related tech, unless you think there's any others that we need to cover.
No, I think that they're definitely the main ones.
Yeah, and then I think then there's like another level of tech, which is things like if you're hosting courses or masterclasses or things like that. So is there anything you'd want to share around making the decisions around doing that?
I mean, that is where you really do open up a minefield of choices, because it really does depend on what kind of course you're delivering, or what kind of membership, what experience you want the people to have when they join. I mean, like I said, I have all of my like landing pages in my WordPress website, and then that connects to the Thrive cart, which then they get enrolled into my course on the membership. Obviously, you use Kartra, and that you build it all in that way. I would say, in terms of again, looking at what system you would want to use, definitely talk to people and find out what they're using and how they're using it. Look at the features, because there may be things in it that you don't want to have, or things that you really want that particular platform doesn't do. And then there's obviously the cost element as well. If you don't have, if it's something that does cost hundreds of pounds a month to run, and you're only just starting out, is that something you can afford to do? And if it is, that's fine. But if it isn't, don't think that's your only choice, because there are other options out there. And like we said, again, although it would be a pain to move from one to the other, as long as you've got a backup. So that would be my top tip, is if you're doing anything like a membership or a online course or anything, and you've got videos, make sure you've got them backed up somewhere else, like a Google Drive or something like that. So if you then do decide to move, you haven't got to find even a podcast, anything like that. Like, back up everything, all your content, because if that platform, because the content is what you own, you don't always own the platform. Like the same with
we're renting the platform.
The email marketing is we own the email addresses, but we don't own the platform that it's built on. So you want to make sure that you got access to them at some point. But that's what I would say, is just make sure you've got those backups saved somewhere, so that if something ever did happen with the platform, you've still got your content.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't rely on the tech systems that, again, we don't own. We are just renting them. Like, make sure that you've got all of your stuff that you own somewhere, that you're not going to lose it.
Yeah, and obviously there is a thing with tech. There will always be glitches.
Always.
There will always, things will always go down, but then there's always human error. If you did things manually, there would be human error. Like, nothing. My favorite saying is done, not perfect. There is no such thing as perfect. It doesn't exist. So, but we can kind of make things that little bit more perfect or more protected by making sure things are backed up, making sure we've got things like 2-factor verification on things for security measures. Like, there's just all these things we can do to protect our business from maybe the tech.
Absolutely. That's just reminded me, I've seen a lot of posts recently about like AI and chat GPT, and like how many of you say please and thank you to chat GPT? And I absolutely do, because when the tech takes over the world, I want them to know that I love them. Like I don't want them to Terminator style me. But yeah, that's the kind of thing, like we need to be making sure that we want the tech to look after us, but we need to look after the tech at the same time by making sure that we've got everything backed up and that we're not just solely relying on the tech to store all of our stuff for us.
Yeah, no, exactly. But at the same time, then the tech can help us, as we've been saying, just cut out some of those manual tasks that take up time, and we can be doing like client facing stuff.
Yeah, the revenue generating
Yeah.
activities, for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been lovely chatting to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'd always love to talk tech.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. My 3 key takeaways from today would be to look at those 3 different systems that we talked about. So, number 1 was the calendar booking system. Do you have one that does that for you, where you can send a link to your clients so that they can book in a call or a session automatically through a link that has your availability in it? Because the time that will save you in having to find availability that both of you have got is mind-blowing. And then the fact that it will also do the reminders for the calls that they have booked in as well, it takes so much stress off of you as the business owner to remember to do those things. The second one was the automatic payments system. So instead of sending manual invoices, can you use an online system like Stripe or PayPal Business? That again means you can send them a link and they can pay immediately at their leisure, instead of having to worry about putting in bank details and transferring the money every time. And then the third one was email marketing. If this isn't something that you're currently doing, then that needs to go to the top of the to-do list, because you are missing out on potential clients by not doing this. As we said, it's a very different relationship for an email subscriber than it is an Instagram or like social media follower. They tend to be a lot more engaged. They care a lot more about the content that you're putting out because they've chosen to subscribe to your email list and they get your emails and they don't unsubscribe, which shows that they're interested in the content that you're sending them. It also means that you own those details. Like, we don't own our social media platforms, so if they were to go down at any point, we would completely lose our following. But that's not the same with our email list. Like, we have those emails. So yeah, have a look at your email marketing, and as Nicola said, like, look at solutions that are either have a free trial or that are free up to a number of subscribers, so that you can see whether it's the right solution for you before you're investing money into paying for it. But thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next time.